And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Take a census also of the sons of Gershom by their father's house, by their clans. Register them from 30 years old and above, even to 50 years old, all who enter to perform the service, to do the service of the tent of appointment. This is the service of the clans of the Gershonites, in the serving and the bearing burdens. And they shall bear the curtains of the Mishkan and the tent of appointment, with its coverings, and the covering of fine leather that is on it, and the covering for the door of the tent of appointment, and the screens of the courtyard, and the covering for the door of the gate of the courtyard, which is round the Mishkan and altar, and the cords, all the equipment for the service, and all that is made for them. So shall they serve. Aaron and his sons are to command all the service of the sons of Gershonites for their burden and all their service, and you shall appoint them all the duty of all their burden. This is the service of the clans of the sons of Gershon in the tent of appointment, and let their duties be under the hand of Ithamar, son of Aaron, the Cohen. As for the sons of Merari, register them by their clans and by their father's house. Register them from 30 years old and above, even to 50 years old, all who enter the service to do the work of the tent of appointment. And this is the duty of their burden according to all their service for the tent of appointment, the boards of the Mishkan, and its bars, and its columns, and its sockets, and the columns around the courtyard with their sockets, and their pegs, and their cords, and all the equipment, and all their service. And assign by name the equipment of the duty of their burden. This is the service of the clans of the sons of Merari. This as all the service for the tent of appointment under the hand of Ithamar, son of Aaron, the Cohen. So Moshe and Aaron and the leaders of the congregation registered the sons of the Kohathites by their clans and by their father's house, from 30 years old and above to 50 years old, all who entered the service for the work in the tent of appointment. And the registered ones by their clans were 2,750. These were the registered ones of the clans of the Kohathites, all those serving in the tent of appointment. And Moshe Aaron registered according to the command of Yahweh by the hand of Moshe. And those registered ones of the sons of Gershon by their clans and by their father's house, from 30 years old and above, even to 50 years old, all who entered the service for work in the tent of appointment. The registered ones by their clans, by their father's house, were 2,650. These were the registered ones of the clans of the sons of Gershom, of all who serve in the tent of appointment, whom Moshe and Aaron registered according to the command of Yahweh. And those of the clans of the sons of Merari, who were registered by their clans, by their father's house, from 30 years old and above, even to 50 years old, all who entered the service for work in the tent of appointment. The registered ones by their clans were 3,200. These were the registered ones of the clans of the sons of Merari, from Moshe and Aaron, registered according to the command of Yahweh by the hand of Moshe. All the registered ones of the Levites from Moshe and Aaron, and the leaders of Israel, registered by their clans and by their fathers' houses, from 30 years old and above, even to 50 years old, all who came to do the work of the service and the work of the bearing burdens in the tent of appointment. The registered ones were 8,580. According to the command of Yahweh, they were registered by the hand of Moshe, each according to their service and according to his burden. Thus were they registered by him as Yahweh commanded Moshe.
Anybody? I think it's just so awesome when we go through these books here, particularly the organization that the Father set down. Each one was assigned his particular duties to the temple, to the tabernacle. But each one knew exactly what he was supposed to do. There was no argument over it, no challenging. The Father had given them exactly what they were supposed to do, and he anointed them to do that. So we need to just look at the organization that was here. And even today, all the scholars, are amazed at how that many people moved and did all the things they did with such organization. It's because it was organized by Almighty Yahweh. It was set up by Almighty Yahweh. The whole thing was detailed by him with specific instructions that they were to follow. And I think it's pretty awesome, because I think the Father gives us things to do today. Each one in the body has things to do. And I think when we get in trouble is when we start reaching out past those things, trying to do something on our own that we are not instructed or anointed to do by the Father. We just need to follow his instructions, his corrections, his directions, and walk in the way that he has set forth for us. Anybody? Because right here you can see, he did not leave it up to anybody to figure out what they were supposed to do. He gave them specific instructions. Anyone? Okay. Let's go on to the next chapter.
And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Command the children of Israel to send out of the camp every leper and everyone has a discharge, and whoever becomes defiled for a being. Send out both male and female, send them outside the camp so that they do not defile their camps in the midst of which I dwell. And the children of Israel did so, to send them out of the camp as Yahweh had spoken to Moshe. So the children of Israel did, and Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, when a man or a woman commits any sin that men commit in trespass against Yahweh, that being is guilty. Then they shall confess their sin which they have done, and he shall restore his guilt in his principal, plus 1/5 of it, and give it to whom he has been guilty. But if a man has no relative to restore the guilt to, the guilt which is restored goes to Yahweh for the Cohen, in addition to the ram of the atonement, with which atonement is made for him. And every contribution of all the Kodesh gifts of the children of Israel, which they bring to the Cohen, becomes his. And every man's Kodesh gifts becomes his. Whatever any man gives, the Cohen becomes his. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, When any man's wife turns aside and has committed a trespass against him, and a man has intercourse with her, and it is hidden from the eyes of the husband, and it is concealed that she has defiled herself, and there is no witness against her, nor was she caught. And the spirit of jealousy comes upon him, and he becomes jealous of his wife who has defiled herself, for a spirit of jealousy comes upon him, and he becomes jealous of his wife, although she has not defiled herself. Then the man shall bring his wife to the Cohen, and he shall bring the offering for her 1/10 of the ephah of barley flour. He is not to pour oil on it or put frankincense on it, because it is a grain offering of jealousy, an offering for remembering, for bringing wickedness to remembrance. And the Cohen shall bring near, and shall make her stand before Yahweh. And the Cohen shall take Kodesh water in the earthen vessel, and take some of the dust that is on the floor of the Mishkan, and put it in the water. And the Cohen shall make the woman stand before Yahweh, and shall uncover the woman's head, and put the offering for remembering in her hands, which is a grain offering of jealousy, while the Cohen holds in his hand the bitter water that brings a curse. And the Cohen shall make her swear and say to the woman, if no man has lain with you, and if you have not turned aside to uncleanness under your husband, be free from this bitter water that brings a curse. But if you have turned aside under your husband, and if you have defiled yourself, and some man other than your husband has lain with you, then the Cohen shall make the woman swear by the oath of the curse, and he shall say to the woman, Yahweh make you a curse and an oath among your people, when Yahweh makes your thigh waste away, and your abdomen swell. And the water that causes the curse shall go into your inward parts, and make your abdomen swell, and your thigh waste away. And the woman shall say, so be it, so be it. And the Cohen shall write these curses in the book, and shall wipe them off into the bitter water, and shall make the woman drink the bitter water that brings the curse, and the water that brings the curse shall enter her and become bitter. And the Cohen shall take the grain offering of jealousy in the woman's hand, and shall wave the offering before Yahweh, and bring it to the altar. And the Cohen shall take the hand filled with the offering as a remembrance offering, and burn it on the altar, and afterward make the woman drink the water. And when he has made her drink the water, then it shall be, if she has defiled herself and has committed a trespass against her husband, then the water that brings the curse shall enter her and become bitter, and her abdomen shall swell, and her thighs shall waste away, and a woman shall become a curse among her people. And if the woman has not defiled herself and is clean, then she shall be clear and shall conceive children. This is the Torah of jealousy, when a wife turns aside under her husband and defiles herself, or when the spirit of jealousy comes upon a man, and he becomes jealous of his wife, then he shall make the woman stand before Yahweh, and the Cohen shall do to her all this Torah. And the man shall be clear from wickedness, but the woman bear her wickedness.
Anybody? I think this is so. We look at it in this context, and it looks a little bit one-sided. But if we understand what it represents the believer and Almighty Yahweh. And if we defile ourselves with Him, then we are under the curses. This is so important for us to understand, because I know there are so many liberal Christians that run around claiming all the promises of the Christianity, all the promises of the Word, but not fulfilling any of the obligations that the Father has required of them. If we are the bride of Yeshua, and the church likes to tout that we are the bride of Yeshua, then if we are the bride of Yeshua, then we ought to be loyal and faithful to Him as that bride, and not be whoring around with the idols and the things that are so prominent in the church today. There are so many prominent idolatries in the church that they accept, that they go along with, and they treat as being kadosh. We need to be separate, not only in our actions with our life particularly, but personally, but be particular with the things that we do as a congregation, that we stay free of the idols, the idolatry that has so caught up in the Christian church today. There is so much idolatry in it that it's just rampant. You know, I walk in a place and I see this picture of Ashtaroth that they claim is Yeshua, and if you look in the two Babylons and you see the picture of Ashtaroth, you will know that what that picture is not Yeshua, it's Ashtaroth. And they have them right up behind the baptistry and everything else in the churches today that people go to, and they bow down at the altar. Well, guess what's right behind the altar? The baptistry, the picture, the cross, everything that they're bowing down to, they're forbidden to bow down to. And we need to be very particular with our lives, our personal lives, that we are not caught up in any idolatrous practices. Go ahead.
Also, this is just an experience that I had, and I mean, it can happen to the Messianics, you know, and we can be seduced, and pumpkin patches, I just want to say, was something that it looked like just a harvest thing on the outside to me, and I just, you know, I ended up going because my children wanted to go, and I had let them go, but I wasn't going to go, so I didn't really have understanding of why they were bad. But when you go through the door and you pay the money, and you know, you're actually agreeing with that, and it's there's no good ones, and so you think there's good ones and bad ones. You don't really. I mean, some of them look very harvesty with nothing, you know, Halloween on the outside. But when you get inside there, they have things in there that are evil, and the Father convicted me terribly. And I just want to tell other people because I don't want them to fall for that.
Right. There's all kinds of seductions out there. It's on the outside and in the church too. Anybody? Go ahead, Rachel. I'm sorry, I didn't see you, brother.
I was actually taller for once. So I find this chapter such an interesting chapter. You know, it's so odd to us today. Mm-hmm. And reading through it and hearing some, you know, looking into some things this week and really seeing that there's a lot of protection for the wife in this chapter. Most people, you know, reading from the outside would say, you know, like, that's so ridiculous. This is just, you know, like, oh, the guy suspects his wife and there's nothing about if the woman suspects her husband and all these things. But knowing especially that culture then, where women were under their husband's authority, and it even references it in here, if she's gone out from under his authority and, you know, slept with another. And a man in any other culture, without these commands, without this protection, could for any reason just say his wife did this act, bear false witness against her, put her out for no reason, and like they did back in the olden days, you know, hang the A on them, put the scarlet on them that made them showed that they were an adulterer, even if they weren't. You know, if a husband is just accusing his wife, and with there not being this protection for the woman, you know, she would have fallen under whatever evil he wanted to do to her, whatever the society would stigmatize her. And this puts it for Yah to be the witness. It's not, you know, because this is in an instance when someone wasn't found in adultery. You know, he suspects. He thinks it may have happened. And so there aren't any proofs. So he brings her to Yah for Yah to be the witness, and then it keeps her, you know, if she's pure, then she's pure. Like, I don't know that I would feel good after my husband brought this to me. You know, like, oh, thanks. I know you trust me. Yay. But at least if you are innocent, you're vindicated. Yah is proving you innocent and being in your court for that. So it really is. It seems weird, but there's a lot of protection for a wife in this chapter.
I think probably after your husband put you through this, that the dinner table would be a stressed place. Go ahead, brother.
So, wow, this one's live today. All right. So, there's actually no record of this being performed, but it does really hearken to Revelation and Revelation 8. And the third messenger sounded, and a great star fell from the heaven, burning like a torch, and it fell on a third of the rivers and on the fountains of water. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. Mm-hmm. And they and a third of the waters became wormwood, and many men died from the waters because they were made bitter.
Yeah.
So, and we go, Yahweh is a jealous El, So he's jealous for our attention. He's jealous for us to follow him.
Right.
And the flesh, the carnal mind, wants us to walk in total opposition to him, which is the very nature of sin. Anything against him is that adultery. So although in culture this wasn't really, it doesn't look like it was actually used, we've got to think about this, and our protection is Yeshua.
Yes.
But in order to do that, we have to have our lamps trimmed and oil filled.
Definitely. Go ahead.
Carla, I'm not criticizing you or what the Father told you about pumpkin patch or anything, but what you said, wouldn't that kind of flow over to any place we shop, like at Easter or Christmas? You walk into Walmart, there's Easter stuff, Christmas stuff everywhere, Dillon's, Christmas stuff, Easter stuff everywhere. You go to eat someplace, they have Christmas decorations. I mean, everywhere we go has got the pagan stuff everywhere.
Okay,
And I think that kind of goes back to what Kenny just said, is that we need to, that Yeshua is our covering, is our protector, and we're subject to that no matter where we go, unless we never leave our house.
Okay, so that was my question. That was my whole question. Like, why is it bad? Because we go to Walmart. There's Halloween stuff over here. There's, I did not have understanding. That's why I fell into the trap.
You just can't participate. I mean, you can go in there and buy a plain old pumpkin. You don't have to buy one with.
No, I'll tell you.
Can I jump in here?
Oh,
Walmart is a place where you buy your groceries, your necessities. You don't have to get involved in all the pagan stuff there. Pumpkin patch is not a place that you go that's necessary for you to go to have your food. We're not an agricultural society anymore. We don't raise our food. Most of the time we go to the store and we buy. You can't go to a grocery store in any of these times without it being there. You don't have to participate in it. You don't have to buy the Easter bunnies. Even though the chocolate tastes good, you don't have to buy it, and you don't need to buy it. So That to me, that's the difference. There's no requirement to go to the pumpkin patch or all the extracurricular things. But when you go to Walmart, you don't necessarily go to Walmart because it's participating in these pagan things, but it's the market where you go to buy your food. So I think to be able to completely stay away from that, you probably ought to buy your food and stock it up ahead of time so you don't have to go during that period. But even if you do that, for months after it's over, it's still got the stuff out. So, I don't know any way that we can keep from being exposed to it, in some shape, form, or fashion. But we do not have to participate in it, and we do not have to go to extracurricular things that has it. I think when we're talking about a supermarket, that's a necessity for our food, and but we don't have to buy the Easter eggs or the Easter bunnies or have anything to do with it or even go into that section. You don't have to go into that section and participate in it. So, that would be my answer. If somebody's got a better one, I'm open to listening. But
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so you say we don't have to go to the pumpkin patch to buy our groceries, but the thing is, when you go to those places, it's all grown right there on the farm. It doesn't go through all these processing plants and from other countries and everything and have all these chemicals poured on it. So we don't go to participate in the Halloween stuff, but we have gone to buy our squashes because you can't go buy a blue Hubbard squash anywhere else.
Right.
We're growing our own this year, but there are a lot of those squashes you cannot walk into any local grocery and buy. And even if you do, where did it come from and what does it have on it? I'd rather go to the pumpkin patch to buy those.
Well,
So I would argue that
yeah.
part on that, but you don't have to participate in any of the activities. I can go in there, purchase my squash, and leave.
I think that's the thing, is that you have to keep yourself separate, from it. You have to keep yourself separate from it. And I don't know that Pumpkin Patch has all that stuff all during the year. It just has it during the seasons where they're...
During the squash season,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Here's the testimony. Okay, so, there was a lot of things operating against me the day that I went. For one thing, I was going to spend my tithe money to go into the place because I didn't want my daughters to pay, which I never do. But also, so I just didn't have understanding that when you go into those places and you pay, then there was a nice little gift shop. Okay, it had religious stuff and it had evil stuff, and in the corner, there was a tree with a witch hat on it, and I was like, "Oh, I don't participate in that." But yet, I went through the door and I paid to get into this place. Okay, but my children were, and I had, and another Messianic mom was saying, "Oh, it's not bad. It's just, I don't know. I'm going to bring my kids because it's all, harvesty and, apple cider and blah, blah, blah." And that's how I thought. And I had no answer for that. So that kind of played on me. And so I'm like, and I had allowed my other children, because another Messianic mom was also like, "Oh, yeah, they can go there and, take pictures." And I just thought it was clean fun, right? Like there were slipper slides and swings and all. Okay, so I really could not answer for why it was bad, right? But I'm telling you, there's a testimony on this for me. So I went through the door and I was like, so I was going into the pumpkin patch. And honestly, I want to tell you, the one in El Dorado, it's like a worlds of fun. It's like a black, that black asphalt that you walk on. And lots of families, and it was so close too. It was too close to the Halloween stuff too, but it was. I would have, anyways, but so I'm going on there and, I'm like looking around. Okay, what's bad? Is there anything bad? Do I feel anything, And, it felt a little awkward, but, then I started playing on some of the stuff with my children. And So there was a couple idols. They had also some cement jack o' lanterns, and then but the big deal was there was kind of like a little hollow that they went down, and there was kind of a darker place. And I was like, I don't want to go down there. I want to go up here where it's light, you know. But I played on the stuff with them, and then at the end, we took pictures just like they did with their friend. You know, we took pictures, and I tried to make the best of it and everything. And then at the end, and honestly, I was just kind of seeing, why is it bad? Okay, why is it bad? And then at the end, then there's that big chair. You know how those big chairs they have like at Silver Dollar City or whatever, and you take a picture on it. And so they were all getting ready to take pictures on it, and the father was like, "You just played on the devil's playground." I mean, that's how he spoke to me. I mean, he just came on me, and it was like, okay, so I mean, I could, and then. I mean, I still didn't realize, but there's a curse if you go to those places.
But what she's saying is she went there to buy food, not to get involved in all that.
Well, I'm saying that I know that you can get pumpkins, you know, wherever you can get pumpkins that are better, I agree with that. You know, I'm not against buying good produce, okay? And there was some produce there, but you would have to, I don't think that on this one you had to pay like, you know, I mean, I remember it was kind of expensive. It was like, you know, well, maybe it's $15 or $13 to go into it, and of course they have activities everywhere, you know, and and I'm just saying that, and even putting a pumpkin on your porch, I mean, that is like acting like with the devil. The whole thing was to put a pumpkin on your porch to ward away spirits, and even if you don't put a jack-o'-lantern on it, I mean, I feel like that is evil, like. It's kind of a look-alike. Yes, yes, and I'm all for that, and I'm all for good produce that's been grown. You know, I just wouldn't. I'm just saying.
Moving on.
I'm just saying there is a testimony with that the Father showed me by the seat of my pants some understanding, and it was terrible.
You know, one of the things that the critics of the Bible come up with is this right here. They accuse this procedure that the Father set up to clarify the woman or to make her guilt. The test that she went through, they say, see, that's witchcraft right in the Bible. That's not witchcraft. That's the Father. You know, yes, I think witchcraft copies many things out of the Word, and the Word does not copy out of witchcraft. But there are similarities. But it is not giving honor to Satan or witches. It's giving honor to Almighty Yahweh. So, but there are critics that accuse the Bible of being caught up in witchcraft. You know, and it's not. There's not at all. Anybody? Go ahead.
So, I would just like to say, we are in the world and not of it.
That's right.
You know, and so one of the places that we can set ourselves apart and fight back on a little bit of this is trying to, well, for one, not spend our money there, but in the big stores that we do have to go to, you know, don't spend the money in those seasons if you can get away with it. If you can stock up on your staples beforehand, do so. That way you're spending less money in that season. So they look at it all business, all ones and zeros, bottom lines. So if they see it's not being as profitable to get into that, they'll choose a different way.
That's the bottom line, is how many dollars they make. Anybody? All right. Let's go on to 6.
And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, When a man or woman separates by making a vow of a Nazarite to be separate to Yahweh, he separates from wine and strong drink. He drinks neither vinegar or wine, nor vinegar or strong drink. Neither does he drink any grape juice, or eat grapes or raisins. All the days of his separation he does not eat whatever is made by the grapevine, from seed to skin. All the days of the vow of his separation, a razor does not come upon his head until the days are completed for which he separates himself to Yahweh. He is Kodesh. He shall let the locks of his head grow long. All the days of his separation to Yahweh, he does not go near a dead body. He does not make himself unclean for his father or for his mother, for his brother or his sister, when they die, because the separation of Almighty Sovereign is on his head. All the days of his separation he is Kodesh to Yahweh, and when anyone dies beside him or in an instant suddenly, and he has defiled the head of his separation, then he shall shave his head on the day of his cleansing. On the seventh day he shaves it, and on the eighth day he brings 2 turtle doves, 2 young pigeons, to the Kohen, to the door of the tent of appointment. And the Kohen shall prepare one as a sin offering, and the other as a burnt offering, and shall make atonement for him, because he sinned by reason of the dead body. And he shall kodesh his head on that day. And he shall separate to Yahweh the days of his separation, shall bring a male lamb, a year old, as a guilt offering. But the former days are not counted, because his separation was defiled. And this is the Torah of the Nazarite. When the days of his separation are completed, he is brought to the door of the tent of appointment, and he shall bring his offering to Yahweh, 1 male lamb, a year old, a perfect one, as a burnt offering, and a ewe lamb, a year old, a perfect one, as a sin offering, 1 ram, a perfect one, as a peace offering. And the basket of unleavened bread cakes, of fine flour mixed with oil, and unleavened thin cakes anointed with oil, and the grain offering, and the drink offering. And the Kohen shall bring them before Yahweh, and prepare the sin offering and his burnt offering, and he shall prepare the ram as a peace offering to Yahweh, together with the basket of unleavened bread. And the Kohen shall prepare its grain offering and its drink offering. And the Nazarite shall shave the head of his separation at the door of the tent of appointment, and shall take the hair from the head of his separation, shall put it on the fire which is under the slaughtering of the peace offering. And the Kohen shall take the bull shoulder of the ram, and 1 unleavened cake from the basket, and 1 unleavened thin cake, and put them upon the hands of the Nazarite. After that he has shaved his dedicated hair, then the Kohen shall wave them a wave offering before Yahweh. It is Kodesh before the Kohen, besides the breast of the wave offering, and besides the thigh of the contribution. And afterwards the Nazarite shall drink the wine. This is the Torah of the Nazarite, who vows to Yahweh the offering for his separation, and besides that, whatever else his hand is able to provide, according to the vow which he takes, so he shall do according to the Torah of his separation. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to Aaron and to his sons, saying, This is how you bless the children of Israel. Say to them, Yahweh bless you and guard you. Yahweh make his face shine upon you, and show favor to you. Yahweh lift up his face upon you, and give you peace. Thus they shall put my name on the children of Israel, and I myself shall bless.
Anybody? You know, it's a serious thing to vow a vow to Almighty Yahweh. And when you take a Nazarite vow, that is a vow. And the Father says, if you vow a vow, fail not to keep it. And in this case here, even when they ended, they completed their term as a Nazarite. the hair was shaved off of their head because it was consecrated to Almighty Yahweh. We need to understand that we do not make commitments to Almighty Yahweh lightly. Our commitments to Him are kadosh, and He expects us to keep them. And because it's difficult to keep them, has nothing to do with it. If you have committed to Him to do something, then you must complete it. And I have respect for people who honor that. I know that it's a serious thing to make a commitment to Almighty Yahweh. And when you make a commitment, that it's also very serious that you keep that commitment. Anybody? All right, let's go to 7. This is a pretty repetitive chapter.
And it came to be when Moshe finished putting up the Mishkan, and he anointed it, and kodeshed it, and all the furnishing, as well as the altar and all its utensils. He anointed them and kodeshed them. And the leaders of Israel, heads of their fathers' houses, who were the leaders of the tribes, and over the ones registered, drew near. And they brought their offering before Yahweh, 6 covered wagons and 12 cattle, a wagon for every 2, and leaders, and for each one a bull, and they brought them near before the Mishkan. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Step from them, and they shall be used in doing the service of the tent of appointment, and you shall give them to the Levites, each one according to his service. And Moshe took the wagons and the cattle and gave them to the Levites. And he gave 2 wagons and 4 cattle, and the sons of Gershon according to their service. And he gave 4 wagons and 8 cattle to the sons of Merari according to their service, under the hand of Ithamar the son of Aaron the Cohen. But to the leaders of Kohath he gave none, because theirs was the service of the Kodesh objects which they bore on their shoulders. And the leaders brought the dedication of the altar in that day. It was anointed, so that the leaders brought their offering before the altar. And Yahweh said to Moshe, Let them bring their offering, 1 liter each day, for the dedication of the altar. And the one who brought his offering on the first day was Naso, son of Amminadab, from the tribe of Yehudah. And his offering was 1 silver dish, the weight of which was 130, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels, according to the shekel of the Kodesh place, both of them filled with fine flour mixed with oil, as a grain offering, 1 gold ladle of tin filled with incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, 1 male lamb a year old, as a burnt offering, 1 male goat as a sin offering, and as a peace offering, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, 5 male lambs a year old. Thus was the offering of Naso, son of Amminadab. On the 2nd day, Nathanael, son of Zur, leader of Yishkar, brought near, and he brought his offering, 1 silver dish, the weight of which was 130, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels, according to the shekel of the Kodesh place, both of them filled with fine flour, with oil as a grain offering, 1 gold ladle of tin filled with incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, 1 male lamb a year old, as a burnt offering, 1 male goat as a sin offering, and as a peace offering, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, 5 male lambs a year old. This was the offering of Nathanael, son of Zur. On the 3rd day, Eliab, son of Helon, leader of the children of Zebulun, his offering was 1 silver dish, the weight of which was 130, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels, according to the shekel of the Kodesh place, both them filled with fine flour mixed with oil, as a grain offering, 1 gold ladle of tin filled with incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, 1 male lamb a year old, as a burnt offering, 1 male goat as a sin offering, And as a peace offering, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, 5 male lambs a year old. This was the offering of Eliab, son of Helon. On the 4th day, Elzar, son of Shedeyar, leader of the children of Reuben, his offering was 1 silver dish, the weight of which was 130, 1 silver bowl, 70 shekels, according to the shekel of the Kodesh place, both of them filled with fine flour mixed with oil, as a grain offering, 1 gold ladle of tin filled with incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, 1 male lamb, a year old, as a burnt offering, 1 male goat as a sin offering, and as a peace offering, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, 5 male lambs, a year old. This was the offering of Elzar, son of Shedeyar. On the 5th day, Shemuel, son of Zurshaddai, leader of the children of Shimon, his offering was 1 silver dish, the weight of which was 130, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels, according to the shekel of the Kodesh place, both of them filled with fine flour mixed with oil, as a grain offering, 1 gold ladle of tin filled with incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, 1 male lamb a year old, as a burnt offering, 1 male goat as a sin offering, and as a peace offering, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, 5 male lambs a year old. This was the offering of Shemuel, son of Zurshaddai. On the 6th day, Elisaph, son of Duel, leader of the children of Gad, his offering was 1 silver dish, the weight of which was 130, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels, according to the shekel of the Kodesh place, both of them filled with fine flour mixed with oil, as a grain offering, 1 gold ladle of tin filled with incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, 1 male lamb, a year old, as a burnt offering, 1 male goat as a sin offering, and as a peace offering, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, 5 male lambs a year old. This was the offering of Elisaph, son of Duel. On the 7th day, Elishma, son of Ammihud, leader of the children of Ephraim, his offering was 1 silver dish, the weight of which was 130, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels, according to the shekel of the Kodesh place, both of them filled with fine flour mixed with oil, as a grain offering, 1 gold ladle of tin filled with incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, 1 male lamb a year old, as a burnt offering, 1 male goat as a sin offering, and as a peace offering, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, 5 male lambs a year old. This was the offering of Elishma, son of Ammihud. On the 8th day, Gamiel, son of Pedatsur, leader of the children of Manasseh, his offering was 1 silver dish, the weight of which was 130, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels, according to the shekel of the Kodesh place, both of them filled with fine flour mixed with oil, as a grain offering, 1 gold ladle of tin filled with incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, 1 male lamb a year old, as a burnt offering, 1 male goat as a sin offering, and as a peace offering, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, 5 male lambs a year old. This was the offering of Gamiel, son of Pedatsur. On the 9th day, Abidan, son of Gedoni, leader of the children of Benjamin, his offering was 1 silver dish, the weight of which was 130, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels, according to the shekel of the Kodesh place, both of them filled with fine flour mixed with oil, as a grain offering, 1 gold ladle of tin filled with incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, 1 male lamb a year old, as the burnt offering, 1 male goat as a sin offering, and as a peace offering, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, 5 male lambs a year old. This was the offering of Abidan, son of Gedoni. On the 10th day, Ahiezer, son of Amminashadai, leader of the children of Dan, his offering was 1 silver dish, the weight of which was 130, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels, according to the shekel of the Kodesh place, both of them filled with fine flour mixed with oil, as a grain offering, 1 gold ladle of tin filled with incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, one male lamb a year old as a burnt offering, one male goat as a sin offering, and as a peace offering, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, 5 male lambs a year old. This was the offering of Ahiezer, son of Ammishaddai. On the 11th day, Pagiel, son of Okron, leader of the children of Asher, his offering was 1 silver dish, the weight of which was 130, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels, according to the shekels of Kodesh place, both of them filled with fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering. 1 gold ladle of tin with incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, 1 male lamb a year old as a burnt offering, 1 male goat as a sin offering, and as a peace offering, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, 5 male lambs a year old. This was the offering of Pagiel, son of Okron. On the 12th day, Ahira, son of Einan, leader of the children of Naphtali, his offering was 1 silver dish, the weight of which was 130, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels, according to the shekel of the Kodesh place, both of them filled with fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering, 1 gold ladle of tin filled with incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, 1 male lamb a year old as a burnt offering, 1 male goat as a sin offering, and as a peace offering, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, 5 male lambs a year old. This was the offering of Ahira, son of Einan. This was the dedication of the altar from the leaders of Israel when it was anointed. 12 silver dishes, 12 silver bowls, 12 gold ladles. Each silver dish was 130, and each bowl 70. All the silver of the vessels was 2,400, according to the shekel of the Kodesh place. The 12 gold ladles filled with incense was 10 each, according to the shekel of the Kodesh place. All the gold of the ladles was 120. All the cattle in the burnt offering were 12 young bulls, the rams 12, the male lambs a year old 12, and their grain offering and their male goats as a sin offering 12, and the cattle for the peace offerings were 24 bulls, the rams 60, the male goats 60, the lambs a year old 60. This was the dedication of the altar after it was anointed. And when Moshe went into the tent of appointment to speak with him, he heard the voice of one speaking to him from above the lid of atonement. That was the ark of the witness from between the 2 cherubim. Thus he spoke to him.
Anybody? It's always impressed me that each one of the tribes gave the same offering. There was no partiality, no chance of somebody saying, well, we're the head one because we gave more. Because that seems to be the way people think. The more you give, the more important you are. But in this case, each one of them gave the same thing. So it was not any indication that the Father would have some one tribe or another that would be his particular partiality. And I think that's the way he is with us, is that he expects each and every one of us to be obedient to him. And he is not more particular over one than the other. We have instructions and corrections that we should follow. And I don't think there's any let up on that. Like there's some special person that can get away with not doing it. We're going to cover some areas this morning that we're going to find that the church uses heavily today, but was not even in the scriptures. So anybody? Go ahead.
So going through, I was kind of just curious on why they're ordered the way they are through this one. my mind always catches that, the order. So seeing that it starts with Judah, of course, like that's not the firstborn, and it doesn't end with Benjamin. So it's not in birth order. So I was curious just because that's how my brain works. And so I went back to Numbers 2, and so the tribes in Numbers 7 and what day they bring it is connected back to how they camp in Numbers 2. So if we remember the directions, it says, so there's three tribes in each group, in each camp, maybe is what you'd say. So you've got those that camp to the east, the south, the west, and the north, and that's how this one goes. So Judah is the head of their camp, and then under him fall Issachar and Zebulun. They are all to the east of the tabernacle. And then, so that's days 1, 2, and 3. And then day 4 is Reuben, who's the lead of the south camp. And Simeon and Gad fall under him. And then, so that's 4, 5, and 6. And then on the 7th day, Ephraim brings he's the leader of those that camp on the west. And Ephraim, Manasseh, and Benjamin. And then it finishes, so that's 7, 8, and 9. And then day 10 starts with Dan. He's the leader of his camp to the north. Dan, Asher, and Naphtali. And so just one of those things that catches my mind of why are they in this order? Judah bringing it on day 1. And so we see it just going through that camp cycle. And then when I was going back to Numbers 2, I caught it back when we were reading it too, but when it was talking about the camps actually departing, when, the trumpets sound and we're heading out, that the first 2 groups go, the east and the south go, and then the Levites pick up the tabernacle and they carry it in the middle. So, and I think maybe someone did touch on that. So it's like it's camped in the middle to be the guard and the center point, or the guarded and the center point, and then it's also in the middle of the travel to be the guarded, it's the most secure place when you're going out somewhere, that you're not going to be hit first and the stragglers, in the back. So it's there in the middle as they travel also. So just my thoughts on that.
It's as the same order they moved out. It's the same order they came in to bring the offering, It's just it's awesome, the organization that the Father has set up there. The order is just awesome. That no man did that. That was done by the Father. Anybody? All right, let's go to Judges 13:2.
Judges 13:2. And there was a certain man from Zorah of the clan of the Danites, whose name was Manoah, and his wife was barren and had not borne. And a messenger of Yahweh appeared to the woman and said to her, See now, you are barren and have not borne, but you shall conceive, and you shall bear a son. And now, please guard, and do not drink wine or strong drink, and do not eat any unclean food. For look, you are conceiving and bearing a son, and let no razor come upon his head, for the youth is a Nazarite to the Almighty Sovereign from the womb on. And he shall begin to save Israel out of the hand of the Philistines. And the woman came and spoke to her husband, saying, A man of the Almighty Sovereign Yahweh came to me, and his appearance was like the appearance of a messenger of the Almighty. Very awesome. But I did not ask him where he was from, and he did not declare to me his name. And he said to me, See, you are conceiving and bearing a son, and now drink no wine or strong drink, nor eat any unclean food, for the youth is a Nazarite to the Almighty, from the womb to the day of his death. And Manoah prayed to Yahweh and said, O Yahweh, please let the man of Yahweh whom you sent come to us again and teach us what to do, for the youth who is to be born. And the Almighty Sovereign Yahweh listened to the voice of Manoah, and the messenger of the Almighty came to the woman again as she was sitting in the field. But Manoah, her husband, was not with her. And the woman ran hurriedly and informed her husband and said to him, "See, he has appeared to me, the man who came to me the other day." And Manoah arose and went after his wife and came to the man, and he said to him, "Are you the man who spoke to this woman?" And he said, "I am." And Manoah said, "Now let your words come true. What is to be the rule for the youth's life and his work?" And the messenger of Yahweh said to Manoah, "Let the woman guard all that I said to her. Let her not eat any food that comes from the vine, neither let her drink wine or strong drink, or eat any unclean food. Let her guard all that which I have commanded her." And Manoah said to the messenger of Yahweh, "Please let us detain you and prepare a young goat for you." And the messenger of Yahweh said to Manoah, "Though you detain me, I do not eat your food. But if you offer an ascending offering, offer it to Yahweh." For Manoah did not know he was a messenger of Yahweh. Then Manoah said to the messenger of Yahweh, "What is your name? When your words come true, then we shall esteem you." And the messenger of Yahweh said to him, "Why do you ask my name, since it is wondrous?" And Manoah took the young goat with the grain offering and offered it upon the rock of Yahweh. And he did wondrously while Manoah and his wife looked on. And it came to be, as the flame went up toward the heavens from the slaughter place, that the messenger of Yahweh went up in the flame of the slaughter place. And Manoah and his wife were watching, and they fell on their faces to the ground. And the messenger of Yahweh did not appear any more to Manoah and his wife. Then Manoah knew that he was a messenger of Yahweh. And Manoah said to his wife, "We shall certainly die, because we have seen the Almighty." But his wife said to him, "If Yahweh had been pleased to put us to death, he would not have accepted an ascending offering and a grain offering from our hands, nor would he have shown us all this, nor would he have let us hear the like of this." So the woman bore a son and called his name Samson. Okay. Mm-hmm. And the child grew, and Yahweh blessed him. And the spirit of Yahweh began to move at Mahana Dan between Zorah and Eshtal.
Anybody? Go ahead.
I think this is good proof of pro-life because he's being held a Nazarite from the womb and not just from birth.
Absolutely. This just sets a hand of judgment against all those who are promoting abortion and giving abortions. They're workers of evil. Anybody?
So, it's chapters like this that make me wonder, because it doesn't sound like they took the ascending offering to the temple. Mm-mm. So, it's things like that that make me wonder if we're to be doing stuff like that.
An ascending offering?
Because they still had a slaughter place, mm-hmm. and they did an ascending offering. There was obviously a temple at that time, but they didn't do the ascending offering at the temple, so it would have been at their home or, local to them.
I believe that the Scripture verifies that Yeshua was the supreme sacrifice, that there was no other sacrifice was to be given. I don't believe that we are supposed to give sacrifices. I believe his sacrifice, even though it was a sin sacrifice, that he gave for us, it also set us apart. And I don't know, I would feel real uncomfortable sacrificing an animal to Almighty Yahweh. I think they're going to do that again eventually in Israel, but Israel does not recognize Yeshua. So I'm not even sure that the Father is going to smile upon that. I would be very. I just want to hear something from the Father to indicate to me that I was supposed to do something like that, because I believe Yeshua was the supreme sacrifice to make our peace offering. He was the Prince of Peace. He was a peace offering. He was a sin sacrifice. So to me, it's almost like he covered it all. And the sacrifice of praise, when we praise him, the word says that sacrifice is the bull of our lips. That's the sacrifice offering that we're giving today. That's why it's so important when we come together as a congregation to praise, that everybody gets involved in it, because that is your sacrifice to Almighty Yahweh. That's the bull of your lips. It don't matter whether your voice is pretty, whether you can carry a tune or not. Make a joyful noise to Almighty Yahweh. Make a joyful noise to him. And if you half-hearted do it, it's a half-hearted sacrifice. I think that's where the sacrifices that you're talking about here come in, as our praise offerings to the Father is a sacrifice, the bull of our lips. I don't think we are to be sacrificing animals to him today. I think his Son was the supreme sacrifice. But again, I'm RT. I'm not him. Anybody, go ahead.
If I can input, I respect your perspective on that. I don't fully agree, because as we are actually going to read in Acts, we see Paul go and with these Nazarites who are going to fulfill. And so he goes to the temple and pays their way is what it says, but what that would mean is that he's taking the offerings, the animals, to go, and that was post-Yeshua. And then my understanding, at least, of Zechariah and a few others, Ezekiel, is a foreshadowed temple or tabernacle, altar of some sort, in the millennial reign, in which even chata'at, sin offerings, which again, kind of going through even this year, like I think that restoration, offering it's even said that they're given then. I don't fully understand it. I have not done any animal offerings or such, in that, again, because I would be leery also of really how it should look. But I think it's good to think about, to study, to seek the Father on, and if that's I'm not going to do it unless he tells me fully, that I think that's an okay place to be, because we don't know for sure. But I think that there are some biblical examples that we see. There have been, by followers of Messiah, there have been animal offerings given after, and looking forward to something that hasn't happened in the future that is a good thing, like Ezekiel and Zechariah, in which it does talk about animal offerings. With this one, I always kind of wonder also, Manoah to me, or in my memory, is the only instance in which we actually have a record or a telling of someone sacrificing after they come out of Egypt, and the instructions, the Torah is given, the tabernacle is made. Because of course we know Abraham did, we know Isaac, Jacob, they all did prior to the tabernacle. But once the tabernacle is established, Manoah, from my recollection, is the only example we have of someone making an altar of his own. And in Exodus, right after the Ten Commandments, it gives an instruction, and it's in Exodus 20:25, and if you make me a slaughter place of stone, do not build it of cut stone, for if you use a chisel on it, you have profaned it. And I think there's one about earth. Do not go up to the steps by my altar, lest your nakedness be exposed. I thought there was one of earth. Maybe there's another verse somewhere. Sorry, it's the verse before. So 24 and 25. Make an altar of earth for me, and you shall slaughter on it your ascending offerings and your peace offerings, your sheep and your cattle, in every place where I cause my name to be remembered. So that one, in every place, that's not just one place to me, so that's interesting. A lot of times we hear later, the place I set my name, but this one it says, in every place I set my name. Or where I cause my name to be remembered, I shall come to you and bless you. And if you make me an altar of stone, do not build it of cut stone, for if you use the chisel on it, you have profaned it. But that's also before the tabernacle. So I know there's, to me also, I don't know, I don't have an answer. There's a lot of people that discuss this and say, so was that his initial plan? And then there's the golden calf, and then the Levites step up, and then he makes the tabernacle. So I think that that's possible. Like he initially, you could have, like Manoah, made an altar and sacrificed it, like Abraham, like Isaac, like Jacob.
Right.
We say, the Father has done something significant for me. I'm going to make an altar and I'm going to slay an offering. Yet then we have the tabernacle. So I don't know how that plays. Again, I've been part of, maybe not in discussions, but seen lots of other people have the same discussions, just trying to weigh this out and really see. And I think Manoah is a really interesting case because we have it, an example, and it seems to be right. It seems like it was accepted. It wasn't that the Father said, this wasn't right, Manoah.
Right.
So it's just interesting to ponder and to study through and see. Just because I always wonder, why was this okay for him if you could only take it to the tabernacle once the tabernacle was set up? So,
yeah, I'm kind of fuzzy on all of the details about the sacrifices too. I think it's a little fuzzy there. I'll get you just a minute. I think it's a little fuzzy there, but I know that at the time of the temple was built, that they were supposed to go to the temple, and if it was too far to carry your animal, you sold it and then bought another animal at the temple. So, go ahead.
For anyone that's interested, I've been watching, I like Joel Richardson, and I've been watching a teaching of his on the rebuilt temple on YouTube, and he's got a really good teaching on it. And I didn't write the scripture verses down or anything, but he does talk about, he said that the way everything is going, we need to have a concrete idea about what the Father says about this rebuilt temple, because it's going to be rebuilt, and as believers, we need to know how to react to this temple. And he said that, number one, the Father sees it as holy because if it wasn't holy, it couldn't be desecrated. Something has to be holy to be, where it talks about they go in and the abomination of desecration. It has to be holy to be desecrated. Otherwise, if the Father didn't care about it, it wouldn't be an abomination of desecration. And he also quoted different scriptures where he comes up where the Father talks about the sacrifices being his sacrifices. But I can't quote them because I didn't write them down and I don't remember them. But if anybody's interested, you can go on YouTube and put Joel Richardson and then look for his thing on the rebuilt temple. And he's very scriptural, and it's very good study.
I think we should get all the information that we can accurately, but even when we talk about the setting up itself in the temple, what temple are we talking about? I think that the spirit of the Antichrist was with them even in Paul's time. So we need to know exactly what temple he's talking about that he sets himself up in, because I believe that we are the temple of Almighty Yahweh. And I believe that if that Antichrist or false worship sets up in us, that it has set itself up as sovereign. And so, we need to go. And when I'm saying that, I'm not saying that there's not going to be a temple built and there's not going to be one set up there. But I'm saying there is a thought and a teaching where the temple that we're talking about setting up in is not the physical temple, but the temple of our body. Anybody? Go ahead.
When the people of Israel went out to wage war and battle against others, the priests would go out before them, and they would do sacrifices out in the field. Samuel did it, and that's why Saul fell, because he got antsy and he didn't wait for Samuel to make that sacrifice.
Right. Yeah.
And also David made a lot of sacrifices before the battles.
Right. Anybody else? I hadn't thought about that, but that's true. What you're saying is true. It didn't come to mind whenever we were talking about it. There were sacrifices there. Thank you for bringing that up.
You were talking about the Levites taking up the Michigan and all that. I've just, when an aircraft carrier takes off, they call that an armada. They're in the center, and there's like 12 ships around it.
Like what?
There's like 12 ships around.
Yeah.
And the aircraft carrier's the center of it.
To protect it. Anybody else? All right, let's go to Acts 2:17. I'm true to form, ain't I? Acts 21:17. I'm sorry. I got it sitting right here in front of me on paper too, and I still did it.
Acts 21:17. And when he had arrived in Jerusalem, the brothers received us gladly. And on the following day, Paul went in with us to James, and all the elders came. And having greeted them, he was relating one by one what Elohim had done among the nations through his service. And when they heard it, they praised the Master, and they said to him, You see, brother, how many thousands of Yehudim there are who have believed, and all are ardent for the Torah. But they have been informed about you, that you teach all the Yehudim who are among the nations to forsake Moshe, saying not to circumcise the children, nor to walk according to the practices. What then is it? They shall certainly hear that you have come. So do this, what we say to you. We have 4 men who have taken a vow. Take them and be cleansed with them, and pay their expenses, so that they shave their heads. And all shall know that what they have been informed about you is not so, but that you yourself also walk orderly, keeping the Torah. But concerning the nations who believe, we have written and decided that they should keep themselves from what is offered to idols, and blood, and what is strangled, and whoring. Then Paul took the men on the next day, and having been cleansed with them, went into the set-apart place to announce the completion of the days of separation, until the offering should be presented for each one of them.